Let's talk about business research. For a lot of people, that phrase sounds kinda complicated, maybe even a little scary. But we're gonna change that. Over the next few minutes, we're gonna strip away the jargon and show you how this is one of the most powerful, practical tools you can have. Ready? Let's get into it.
So, first things first. When I say the word research, what's the first image that pops into your head? Seriously. For most of us, it probably conjures up some pretty specific and maybe even intimidating pictures.
Does it look anything like this? You know, maybe a scientist in a lab coat, or a professor scribbling insane formulas on a chalkboard, or maybe a massive supercomputer just churning through data. And you know what? You wouldn't be wrong, but that is such a tiny piece of the actual story.
So to get the whole story, here's our game plan. We're going to figure out what research really is, break down the two main types, see why it's a manager's secret weapon, talk about who should actually do it, and then wrap it all up with the ultimate goal, just making smarter decisions.
Okay, so let's start by knocking down those stereotypes. What is research when you get right down to it?
At its absolute heart, research is just this: finding a solution to a problem by studying it. That's it. It's a process we all use every single day. I mean, think about the last time you bought a new phone, or even just picked a movie to watch. You had a problem, you gathered some info, you made a decision. That's research.
Now, when we bring it into the business world, we just add a little bit of structure. Yeah, this formal definition looks like a mouthful, but every word there is super important. Organized, systematic, objective. Why? Because that structure is what turns our everyday curiosity into a reliable engine for finding real answers at work. It helps us move from just guessing to making truly informed decisions.
So it's also really important to know that not all research is the same. It pretty much falls into two big buckets, and you can think of them as two totally different paths to learning something new.
On one path, you've got applied research. This is all about the here and now. It's like being a firefighter. There's a specific fire, and you need to put it out fast. Then you have the other path, basic research. This is more about building knowledge for the future. It's not about one specific fire, it's about understanding the science of how fire works in general so we can all deal with it better later on.
Let's make this real with a classic example of applied research. A few years back, soda companies had a massive problem. Sales of diet drinks were tanking because people were getting worried about artificial sweeteners. So their goal was super urgent and very specific. Find a new, perfect sweetener to save a multi-billion-dollar business. That is applied research in a nutshell, a direct response to an immediate, high-stakes problem.
Now let's look at basic research. Picture this: a professor who used to work at a bank remembers that some of her smartest coworkers were also the least motivated. Now, she's not trying to fix that one specific bank. Instead, she's asking a much bigger question: what really makes people feel engaged and involved at work? And her finding that it all comes down to the match between a person's personality and their job, well, that adds to our fundamental understanding of motivation, which can then be applied in thousands of different companies.
Okay, so how does all this stuff actually help you? Why should you, as a manager or a leader, really care about any of this? Because understanding research isn't just for academics. It's a straight-up career superpower.
Seriously, knowing this stuff gives you an incredible toolkit. For one, it helps you tell the difference between a solid study and, frankly, junk science, so you won't get fooled by a flashy sales pitch. You also start to see all the different things that might be causing a problem, instead of just grabbing for the simplest and usually wrong answer. It lets you take calculated risks, and this is a big one. It helps you work way more effectively with any consultants or outside experts you hire.
And speaking of calling in the experts, when you do have a problem that's too big to handle on your own, you'll face that classic question: should we use our own people, or should we bring in someone from the outside?
And it really comes down to a trade-off. An internal team already knows your company culture, your systems, and they cost less. But they might be too close to the problem or even get tangled up in office politics. An external team, on the other hand, brings in fresh eyes and a ton of experience, but they're expensive and it takes some time to get up to speed. There's no single right answer here, just the right one for your specific problem. But no matter which way you go, success almost always comes down to clear communication. You have to be totally explicit about who's doing what and what you expect. You need to tell them your company's core values and any non-negotiables right from the get-go. And you've got to build a good relationship. You need that trust and cooperation to really get to the bottom of things. All of this, the definitions, the two paths, the pros and cons, it all leads us right here to the ultimate payoff. The whole reason we go through this organized, systematic process in the first place. I absolutely love this quote because it just nails it, right?
The difference between a huge win and a catastrophic mistake often isn't about luck or some stroke of genius. It's about the process you use to get there. Research is that better process.
So if you only take one thing away today, please let it be this. Stop thinking of research as this big, scary obstacle you have to get over. It's not the obstacle, it's the path. It's the flashlight you use to find your way through a dark room so you can move forward with confidence, instead of just stumbling around and guessing.
And that brings us to one last thought for you to take back with you. A great research process always starts with a great question. So as you think about the challenges you're facing at work, ask yourself this. What problem could I finally solve if I just started by asking a better, smarter question?